The formulation advantages that we have designed into the Suprex Gold products are a specialized dispersant package, which we'll talk about. Well, we'll talk about all of these in more detail in the coming slides. Again, special detergent blend that aids in acid neutralization and preventing piston deposits. A very special viscosity modifier that brings performance benefits, and a 4-part anti-wear antioxidant formulation package. So let's move into a little more detail on each of these with the next slide. The dispersants are ashless components. They don't contain any metal like magnesium, calcium, which would be found in a detergent. And the soot formation is in the combustion event. The fuel is sprayed in an atomized plume into hot spitting air, and the combustion only occurs at an interface where the fuel and the air can intimately mix, reach sufficient temperature, and burn. But what happens is in some areas, like if you're inside in the middle of a fuel plume, it's all fuel, there's no air, and sometimes a particle just cannot find air to actually burn. So during the injection event, a primary particle of about 30 nanometers sometimes will get together with several other of these primary particles and make an aggregate. This happens during the combustion event, and that aggregate of, say, a half a dozen soot particles is unbreakable. That is kind of fused as partially oxidized fuel into an aggregate that cannot be broken apart. What happens then is these particles can come in contact with the oil film on the liner and get transported into the bulk oil in the sump. And if an oil is designed without sufficient dispersancy, which back in the mid-'80s, before we developed the MAC T7 test, there were instances that oil would literally turn into black mayonnaise and solidify in the sump. It can still happen if you have a bad oil loaded with soot. What the dispersant actually attaches itself to the surface of the primary aggregate and makes a protective barrier that keeps the primary aggregate floating in oil and prevents it from sticking to other primary aggregates and forming large structures that cause a large viscosity increase. And the Suprex Gold products do contain a proprietary dispersant that Infinium developed specifically for the EGR combustion event. It's a new component, a new invention, and it is a very, very potent dispersant for EGR soot. On the next slide, we should have some soot particles. The picture to the left shows a weaker formulation with insufficient dispersancy, and it shows how these primary aggregates will join together to form a significant structure in the oil and cause the oil to get very thick and, in extreme cases, even solidify. And the picture on the right shows the much finer dispersion from the Super Gold ESP package that allows the oil to maintain viscosity control and flow readily throughout the engine and provide good lubrication of all the components. Next slide should be a repeat of the, yep. Again, so the advantages that come with this advanced dispersant is we maintain the design fluid viscosity. We keep the soot particles small enough that we minimize abrasive wear. We avoid plugging the oil filters. It does allow extended service intervals without showing excessive viscosity increase, and by preventing wear, it allows for prolonged equipment life. Next slide.